Why do you think it's important for us to do literature review? So it helps you to define your work in terms of your research question and to set direction of where you are going. Good? Yeah? I think one of the main reasons why you are doing literature review is to identify a knowledge gap, because one of the things that you will be examined for in particular PhD is the originality of your work. So your work must be original, must be novel. Yeah? Okay. I think that's another key issue that you need to be aware of, because one of the things that you are likely to be challenged on is your knowledge of the literature, because one of the things that we examine you on is not just the thesis, and that's why you come for Viva, because we want to know, is it your own work? Do you understand what you have done? And if you don't understand the literature, there's no how you can demonstrate that to us, or to me in particular, that you understand what you have done. So it helps you to understand and engage with the knowledge in that particular field. Yeah. And I want to say at this point that if you're able to do an effective literature review, by the time you come to write your discussion, it becomes very, very easy for you. Because what you are going to do is just to take from your literature review, because you already know the literature anyway, so you know where your findings will agree, or where they agree with the existing literature, and where they disagree, because you already know the literature. Yeah. So what I'm saying here is it highlights specific arguments and ideas. Some of these things you've said about, just trying to reiterate. So it helps to show that what is known or has been studied on a particular topic. Because what we want to know is that, so why did you do this study? So one of the things that will help you to identify, well, the main thing that will actually do that in your thesis is your literature review, to justify the reason why this study is needed. So you need to be able to tell us what the background information is, or what has been studied in that particular area. So it demonstrates to the readers, or to your examiners, because as I keep saying to people, your PhD is not about you. It's for your examiners, because your examiners are going to say whether you've passed or not. I can assure you that after your PhD, 2-3 years later, you might not go back to read your PhD. If you go to your PhD, perhaps maybe you just use some sections that you want to publish. I finished about 8 years ago. Can't remember how many times I've read my PhD, because things are moving on. Yeah. But as I said, to your readers, or in particular your examiners, that this topic is important. And the only way you can show that it's important, no matter how important it is in your head, we won't know except it's written down. And it's through your literature review that we will know that. Okay. So we've talked about this. I'm not going to explain it because of time. So it helps to justify originality of your research. So as I said before, one of the things that you're going to be examined on, or your thesis is going to be examined on, is originality. So through your literature review, you can justify to say, right, this is known, this is what we don't know, and this is what my PhD is going to do. So you have identified a gap, a knowledge gap, that your PhD is going to fill. So, and that's very, very, very important, originality. So no matter how beautifully a PhD is written, if there's no originality, I can assure you that it's not likely to pass, because it's your contribution to knowledge that we are looking for. And if you do an effective literature review, that will help you to demonstrate that very easily. Yeah. So it helps you to evaluate promising research methods. We've talked about that. So it helps to relate your findings. We've talked about that as well. Because once you've done your data collection, you've done your analysis, and you are doing your discussion, refer back to your literature review, and that will help you to discuss your findings.